So the example we're going to look at here for direct variation is the cost of buying DVDs, so we're going back to the DVDs because it's the only prop I have, varies directly as D, the amount of DVDs. So 7 DVDs cost £30.52. So here we've got 7 DVDs, you can pause it and count them, there are 7 there, and this costs £30.52. So intuitively we kind of know that we're going to have to divide somehow and find the cost of one DVD and then work our way back up to another amount. We know that from doing proportion in class. But as I said, variation is a little bit more of a mathematical way of dealing with proportion. So we're going to look at this in a mathematical sense and try and figure it out from basic principles. Okay? So this is how we do that. So first thing I want you to do, guys, make sure you get this copied down. Okay? Because I'm going to have to roll the board up to do the working on it. Alright, so just make sure you get that copied down first. So pauses and then put that into there. Okay, so the first question says find a formula connecting C and D. Alright, so the solution for part A is going to be, first thing we write down is the proportion statement. Okay, so C is directly, varies directly as D. Okay, so this statement here, cost of buying DVD, C varies directly as D. We discussed that in the video just previously, that we can shorten that to C and the little fish symbol for varies directly as D. Now what we can do is we can actually replace that with equals a constant times D. Alright, so C varies directly as D, and we also know that C then is equal to a constant times D. And what we've got to try and do is, we've got to try and figure out the value of this constant here. Now we've been given 2 values from before. We've been told that 7 DVDs cost £30.52. So £30.52 equals K times 7. And as we discussed at the very beginning, we know we're going to have to divide by 7. Alright, but if we look at the algebra here as well, we can see that £30.52 equals K times 7, or 7K. Right? So let's write that down. So 7K equals £30.52. So we know from our algebra knowledge, all we need to do now, excuse the black line in the middle, is we have to divide by 7. So K equals £30.52 divided by 7. So that means that our value for K is 436. Okay, so where does that leave us then? Well, we were asked to find a formula connecting C and D, right? And we had C equals K times D. We've found the value of K now, so that means that our formula is going to be C equals 436 D. Excellent. Okay, so this is a solution to the first part. This bit, sometimes people find a little bit of problem with because it's really new. Okay, so if we just remember that this first line, all we're doing is we're writing out C varies directly as D, because later on it could vary in a different way. Alright, so this means C varies directly as D, and then this statement here allows us to start opening up into an equation. Okay, because we know that it must be multiplied by some constant if it varies directly. Remember, a constant is just a number. Okay, in this case it's 4.36, it could be 2, it could be 10, it could be 0.5, it's just a number that we multiply by to get to the next value. So, working through the algebra, and remember you can rewind this if you want, you get to 4.36 and we get a formula for relating C and D together. Now, part B asks us, if we scroll back to that, asks us use this to find C if D equals 310. So it's just substitution now. So all we have to do is we start with our formula. And we know that D equals 310. So we just substitute that value in here. Remember, this is multiplying. So C is 4.36 times 310. And if we do that on our calculator, that means the cost of 310 DVDs will be, well, we know it's in pounds, so let's make that in pounds. Okay, so that last bit is very straightforward. So the kind of difficult part of this, if you like, is the variation statement and getting the algebra sorted out and getting a relationship between the two. Because if we know that basically every DVD costs £4.36 and the cost of DVDs is £4.36 times the number of DVDs you want to buy. Okay, so we put that in that kind of context, it makes it a little bit more easy to understand, but that's how we actually get to the £4.36 itself. Then what we have to do is we have to demonstrate that we can use the formula. So we have a value for D and we just substitute in and find the corresponding value for the cost. Alright, so remember, that was probably one of the most involved videos we've done for a little while, so make sure you're rewinding, make sure you're looking over things again, and make sure you've got full solutions and everything else copied into your notes. I obviously need to go because that's the police. Alright, see you next time.